Hari Om Tat Sat. Mandukya Upanishad.
Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyam deva Bhadram pashyema kshabhiryajatra स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
We were discussing the correlation between our life and Om. Our life consists of the three stages: awake state, dream state, and deep sleep state. We have discussed this into enough detail, and all the three steps, the stages, cannot exist without Atman, the consciousness, Brahman. And similar example at the objective level was given to us: necklace, bangles, and ring. None of these three forms can exist without gold. So you can say Atman was replaced by gold. If you take gold out of necklace, bangles, or ring, or any ornaments per se, then the shape does not remain, or the thing or the object does not remain. It is so important to understand over and over. We have to train our mind to understand the world reality. We cannot be awake if Atman, or the consciousness, is not there. We cannot have a dream if the consciousness is not there. We cannot also have deep sleep if the consciousness does not, or is not there. And exactly the same way, necklace cannot exist once the gold is taken out. Bangles cannot exist once the gold is taken out, and so does the ring. So understand that the necklace, bangles, and the gold, they have their existence. You can even get hold of it. So sometimes our mind will click back and tell you, but they are there. Yes, they are there, but they are there only during the time gold is present. So it is not forever. So that's why it is not called real or the reality. Reality is the one that exists today, tomorrow, and forever. So it is not bound by the time, nor it is bound by the shape. So samay, time, and space. So this is beyond that, and that is called reality. So now that was represented by Om. Awake state, instead of just calling the awake state, just call it Instead of calling the dream state, just call it U. And instead of calling deep sleep state, call it And all this meaning, awake, dream, and deep sleep, do not exist without Atman. So is Ma do not exist without silence. So now understand the significance of silence. Let's go a step further. So the arrows have been shown, meaning they are equivalent. You can either say awake state or you can say you can dream state to U, and deep sleep state to Ma. And Atman and silence. Silence is eternal. Understand those two words. Now, let's move on to different understanding. Today, what we will be understanding may appear to be very difficult. So please bear with me and try your best to understand. And if you do not understand, don't worry, we are not going to rush, but I will request you to go over today's and last Thursday's lecture, refer to it again and again and again. Let me take you back to the slide and explain to you how beautifully it has been explained. We'll be learning the word nishedha, Sanskrit word, meaning discarding or taking out or removing it. What does it say? So if you like, you can take gold necklace. Now that gold necklace is an object. And if you take what is called negating the essence, then nothing remains. Meaning, here, if you take the gold out of the necklace, then the object dissolves. Understand the word we are going to back to padartha, nished, padartha, object, and nished, negating. So if you remove the essence part, if you remove the gold, nothing remains. If you remove the Atman out of, say, awake state, then there's no more awake state. So that part needs to be understood, because all this will explain to us as to why our seers and rishis call it reality. And when they had the reason of this Upanishad, personalized God and religions per se were not in existence. And after learning this, our attention will also go much deeper, and it will become clearer as to what is it, what is non-duality, what is Advaita. We are not right now ready to understand the word Advaita, no two. But at least we are trying to understand why Om and why Om has been taken as a poem or the mirror image of reality, or Swarupa, in other words, some kind of poem to remind us of the reality. Because our life, the three stages, can be taken out objectively, padartha, and they exist so far as Atman exists, so far as consciousness exists. So to take our attention from this body to Atman, Om is used. And this body or this life has been beautifully represented by these three stages: awake state, dream state, and deep sleep state. There is no fourth element in it. But all the three exist because of Atman. Because of gold, that thing exists. So now let us take to and understand the word Nishedha. We'll take a couple of slides, but now it will be a little easier for us to understand. Gold necklace, bangle, that's what we know, and that's the part we are taking and taking it further. And we saw this bubble. The entire bubble exists because of Atman, because of Brahman. Now, understand the word negating object. Sanskrit word is padartha, nisheda. Nisheda means to negate, padartha means object. So just by negating means taking out, okay, or just removing the gold out of this, nothing remains, negative. So this is what is called padartha nisheda. And exactly similar is pada nisheda. Pada means a word, negating the word. If you negate the word and what it remains is silence. Remove U, remains silence. If you remove then it is silent. So you can say silence is so fundamental. In other words, what do you mean by fundamental? That is primarily, primordial, that exists. You can create a disturbance, but you cannot create silence. You can create necklace, bangles, and ring, but you cannot create gold, mind you. This is, take it as a metaphorically. Do not go strictly into from the argument point of view. So negating the words is equivalent to negating the object, or negating the stages that we have. As soon as you remove the silence, none of the sound exists. And so once the Atman is gone, then uh, shape do not remain, and equally true on the other side. When the shape has been taken out, what remains is gold. So now this is the beauty to be understood. As soon as a or u or is removed, silence remains. Let me repeat, this is so important. When you remove the disturbance, meaning awake state, and how do you remove this awake state? The state exists, understand, it's not a matter of throwing away the state. Let me take you out of this. So it is not that you throw away or momentarily, let's think that out of the necklace, you want to throw away the shape. What remains? Its original source. And what was that source? Gold. Exactly the same way now, take necklace as our awake state. And if you remove the awake state, mean do not pay importance to awake state, then what remains is you go to the fundamental source, and that source is Brahman. Here, the point that we are learning is of awareness. That doesn't mean you kill yourself. Understand, you live your daily life, but with an awareness. Now I'm bringing the word awareness, and little later we'll learn the word awareness. But for the time being, to see that we know that word. So the word awareness. Remain in this body, carry out your daily chores, your kaya dharma, or the bodily activities that is needed to be, but with a full awareness of you are gold, you are Brahman, you are Atman. Understand that awareness, continuous awareness, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, as and when our thinking pattern will change. And later on, I will be more so using the word awareness changes. Okay? Thinking is not awareness, mind you. Thinking can have reactivity built into thinking too. No reactivity, you're just simply observing and witnessing with awareness that you are gold, that you are Brahman. It is easier to derive this awareness in the awake state, but in the dream state, it is not so easy, which I will guide you further as to what you can do. And it is a lot more difficult or to impossible for the deep sleep state, because deep sleep is deep sleep. Okay? But if you have developed the awareness during the awake state, and with enough powerful attempt, you say you develop that for dream state, then no matter what happens to the deep sleep state will be sandwiched between the two stages, which are full of awareness. So to say, even though you have these three stages, but then you are negating the object. You are negating the padartha. Means what? You are wearing the necklace. You are using the bangle. You're using the ring. But your attention or your awareness is not to the chain. It's not to the bangle, not to the ankle, ring, anything. Your full awareness is with gold. And I fully agree, I fully understand it's not that easy because our entire life, from day one we are born, has been directed towards object, 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 and object. And even now, understand, we are doing it, and day in and out, we are developing the objective perception more and more and more. So we are decorating, if I may use the word, we are decorating the object, and we are reinforcing the existence of the object, body, and surrounding things. And when I say surrounding things, we see tree as tree. We see stone as stone. We see water as water. But we do not witness the gold behind that existence. We do not witness or even make an attempt to remind ourselves that beyond this name called stone, river, head, cloth, dress, behind all those names, that is substance behind gold, and only because of the gold, the shape exists. So when we were studying Shivoham and Ishavasya Upanishad, we had contemplated Nama Rupa Vyavahara. Nama means name, Rupa means form, and Vyavahara the characteristic or the qualities. So with this, as soon as this comes, then the substance is lost. It's not lost, but we don't think of it at all. And ever since we are born, our whole prominence goes to the body. Whole prominence goes to everything which is transient, temporary, anitya. And not only this, moment even we study scripture like Mandukya, which is guiding us about reality, about permanence, and we still doubt that why Upanishad is talking about that this body is unreal. I could feel it. This is real. But it is not in the same term. Upanishad is talking about reality. One which is eternal and without which the world does not exist. That is reality. So, part of our sadhana, now you will understand the importance of silence. This time, you would observe that the we changed the chanting of Om a little bit, meaning U, Ma, but then the silence part is extended. For us to understand that everything fades into silence. All the three ornament turns into gold. All the three stages, awakeness, dream state, and deep sleep, fades into Atman. Silence, you do not see it. Atman, you don't see it. But we will learn as to Atman and what is that awareness. But it is so important that not only we just intellectually learn, but more and more we pay attention to silence. And something else also we have to learn about silence. Silence cannot be created. Silence exists. Noise can be created. Disturbance can be created. But when you don't do anything, it is silence. And that silence is you. That part will come to it in a little while. If we can get today, fine. If not, next time. So that silence is you. And what does that Upanishad mean? That silence is you, that gold is you, that Atman is you. And that's the beauty of understanding the significance and importance of silence. In this light, understand that during Brahmari Pranayam, we were guided that please don't chant Om. Why? Because we are still carrying the notion that Om refers to God. But God did not exist then, understand. And God is a convenient ignorance. I'm using the word ignorance, understand. We are using to drop our bundle of ignorance on somebody else. But truly speaking, it is you. The same element, the element which is, or the gold which is in chain or the necklace, same is in bangles and so is in ring. Same Atman, which is in the rock, in air, in space, in water, in you, in me, in us, everywhere. There is nothing but it. In other words, there is nothing but gold. As soon as it manifests, as soon as it takes the shape, then it appears like gold is forgotten, and we look at the necklace. As soon as manifestation takes place, then we create our identity and we identify ourselves. I'm Sanaji, I'm a yoga teacher. I love learning Upanishad. So I can say I'm a learner. But are you the learner? Learner became an objective, not an adjective, because momentarily you were acquiring some knowledge about this Mandukya Upanishad. So you say you are Upanishadic student. But was I an Upanishadic student 50 years ago? No. Will I be after 50 years? Definitely no. So the Upanishadic student is not reality. I'm not saying, referring to Upanishad or the awareness that we derive out of it. So deep of a contemplation. And that contemplation also, not intellectually, not logically, but when you reach to the state of silence, and when you start thinking of not thinking, when you leave your mind alone to the no-mind state, then you can think of the goal. Until then, you will be thinking of the shape, how to polish the necklace, what kind of other dress to wear with, or what other matching element or the shape can go and more decorate your neck. So each one of us are going deeper and deeper and deeper into shape, forgetting gold. Mandukya Upanishad is talking about silence. Mandukya Upanishad is talking about Om. And Om, it's just these three letters, instead of calling awake state, just name it and call it up. So the name does not matter. Substance. And the substance is silence. Substance is gold. Substance is Atman. And the beauty comes because that is what you are. How would you know who you are? You think you can look into the mirror? There's no mirror to let you see or enhance that awareness. But when you look at it metaphorically, Rupak, and when you observe the silence, silence speaks of silence. Silence speaks of Brahman. Silence speaks of gold. But as soon as even the relative silence comes, we put our hands on our head and I say, yeah, I'm enjoying silence, Swamiji, what else? The moment you say what else means what? No more silence. Is already in progress. At the same time, do not condemn yourself to that, again, I wanted to go for silence, but happened. Is happening because years and births of our practice of becoming somebody or being somebody. So in our Yoga Nidra, we have often heard nothing to become, nothing to be. I am what I am. At that time, we were not using the word gold, I am gold. At that time, we were not using the word Atman. But now we can say, yes, you can say Purnam. But that again, understand, Purnam becomes a word. So when you do not use any word, do not name an element, do not give forms to the element. What do you mean by the form? If I say this is a mouse, now you can never use the mouse for cutting a fruit because mouse has limitations. What limitation? It gives instruction, electrical signals to the computer. This is not used for cutting a fruit or giving heat to an element for cooking. That doesn't mean it does not have function. It does have function. But the moment you use the word mouse, that has limitations. And if you bring in a knife, that knife has the functionality of knife, but the knife cannot move the cursor on the computer. You can bring in a car will be a mode of transportation. Each one cannot do each other's work. So each one has limitations. And why each one has a limitation? This has a shape and characteristic. No, but let's just talk about the shape. So, and before even the shape, the name mouse. So nama means name. Rupa, the form. You cannot give mouse a shape of a knife. So the rupa, the form, is that of this. And now, vyavahara, the functionality. It has a function of sending the electronic signals. Knife cannot do that. A car cannot do that. So as soon as you bring in the name, the forms of the rupa follows it. And as soon as the name and the form comes into picture, limitations follows it. So even the word Om, we will learn that once you go beyond Om, and really of Om, Makar, that dissolves into silence. As soon as it dissolves into silence, we cannot call it Om anymore. So no Nama. We cannot give it any shape like the symbol Om. So no Rupa. So no Nama, no name, no form, no Rupa, and hence no Vyavahara, no characteristic, no functionality. So it is so important to understand that Atman or Brahman is a source of witness. It does not do anything because it's gold, because it's silence, because it is Atman. So now understand how ignorant we are that first of all, even to use the word like God. Because God is our design, our definition. And moment you use the word God, it will have limitations. And we say on top of it, God, why did you do that? Can God do anything, first of all? As we were talking about, silence does not do anything. Gold does not do anything. Atman does not do anything. Just the sheer presence makes things happen. Sheer presence of gold makes the shape get to happen. And once the shape to happen, nama, name happens. Once the name happens, rupa, the form happens. And once the form happens, vyavahara, the characteristics happens. All of you may be wondering, why am I talking so much on this confusion? It is not confusion. It is so beautifully explained. And when we'll be dealing with the last sloka, 12th, you will understand how beautifully this Upanishad is telling us. It is bringing our mind to that awareness as to what is reality. And once we'll witness the reality, we'll witness our ignorance, and we'll come to know that whatever I was looking outside of me, meaning I want to see God, can I talk to God? Can I go to heaven? Can I have freedom? Can I have moksha? Can I have liberation? See all those words that we have learned. This will calm you down so much that you will not be looking into these words anymore. Are you folks with me? What I'm driving at? It is still, I'm going back to understand the word of Turiya. More than the fourth, I would like to use it as most fundamental, without which nothing exists. On a permanent basis, mind you, that part you need to understand. And the only permanence which is Brahman, which is reality. So when Sankaracharya says what is the word I'm trying to look for? Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. The truth is Brahman, and Jagat, what it appears and what changes, it is Mithya. Mithya because their existence is dependent. Existence is dependent on the name, form, and characteristic. And because of that, it has limitations. So, understanding that comparative study, and again, comparison, because that's the only way we can understand. Otherwise, the whole thing is so abstract. Lot of time when you go to a very high level teacher or Swami, they have nothing to talk, and you just be with them for X number of months, and you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And you just see that they are very, very quiet. And and we person like us can ignorantly feel. I've been here 6 months and Swami hasn't taught me anything, not a word of Upanishad, because what he's communicating in silence that we are not capable of understanding. If you understand, say, English only, and you don't understand anything about Sanskrit, then what could be the communication? Nothing. So the whole science of spirituality is the science of silence. And each one of us wants to know more and more and more and more. And thinking that show me the asana so that I can meditate better. Show me the pranayam so that I can reach to heaven easily. I can derive all the strength and energy and all the knowledge. You may memorize all the Upanishads, but then what? Unless and until the silent state is reached, nothing more need to be done. And even as you know, silence cannot be learned. And the reason I say silence cannot be learned, because silence is not that you can create. Any attempt that you make to learn silence, it will create a disturbance. Try to think more and more and contemplate on it as to how easily we were wasting our time, and we are still wasting. But at the same time, you may think that you're wasting time on Thursday as well. We are wasting this time by investing time to not to waste anymore. Are you with me what I'm trying to say? In other words, we are learning what not to do. Let me take just a few words, introduce sloka number 12, even though we have not done 9, 10, and 11. Okay? I'm not jumping, but there it has its place. So let me take you to this is the 12th sloka. Amatra cha chaturtha avyavharya prapancho pasama shivo advaita evam omkara atma eva samvitsatmanan atmanam yaha evam veda. What does it say? So, amatra, which is indivisible, and it is whole. Nothing can create it, or nor it can create. Let me take you to the next slide. Oh, no. Amatra, the partless, it cannot be parted. Chaturtha, the fourth one, that Turiya state of Vyavaharya, beyond empirical transaction. This part of Vyavaharya, Vyavahar, transaction, in other words, once you have some characteristic, then naturally you will have some function to play. Here, no function to play. In other words, see, by just word of Vyavaharya, we need to understand that never ever blame God for anything. God does not do anything. Very hard statement, but understand this. And we'll continue on this subject matter next time. So anything transaction-wise, anything to take part in, that is transaction. So that is vyavahara. So it's not to take part in anything. And free prapancha, our created universe. So it is prapancha upashamaha. Upashamaha, free from universe. Shivam, Shiva word we have studied enough, Shivoham, Shiva auspiciousness. Advaita, non-dual, there is nothing else. Don't even think that your consciousness and my consciousness, non-dual, this is the only thing. Evam, thus, Omkara, the word Om, Atma, self, Atma Eva, Eva, only. Some would say enters, merges, Atman, through self, your own self, Atmanam, into self itself, Yaha, that, Evam, thus, Veda means who knows. In other words, what is the Turiya state? So he says it is partless, meaning cannot be parted. And that's why it is Advaita. I mean, there is nothing else. Okay, that's why it is Advaita. And what was the other word? Avyavaharya. Vyavaharya, which cannot be engaged into any transaction, any empirical transaction. Prapancha, free from universe. It exists, so you cannot say it is from my universe to your universe. That is the only thing that exists, that the only reality, which is Shiva, and which you yourself are. And that part we'll learn. Now, this is translation, and I don't want you to be lost into it, but you will now understand a little bit. That which has no part, the soundless, the incomprehensible, beyond all senses, the cessation of all phenomena. Phenomena can happen when the transaction can happen. All blissful and non-dual Om is the fourth, that is the Turiya. And verily, it is the same as Atman, our own consciousness, our own Brahman. He who knows this merges his self in the supreme self, the individual in the total. I will request you folks to join me for the Shanti part, and we'll go still further explanation of this, and if the time will permit, we'll look into 9th, 10th, and 11th sloka. So for this and others, my humble request will be, whatever approach of your spiritual life may be, but do introduce some part of silence. Similar activities, we'll be having it, we are learning it in yoga class also Wednesday. Yesterday we were studying 3rd stages of Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. So see what runs parallel. Okay, let me take you to Shanti part. Sorry.
भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनुभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Hari Om Tat Sat.